When someone chooses to leave your life, let them. No need to question, beg, or plead. Let people go without resistance, without bitterness, and without turning it into a performance. It's one of the hardest things to do, but it's also one of the strongest signs that you understand your value. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lesson. Some of them are meant to bless you, and others are meant to break you wide open so you can grow. And when their time is up, holding on only poisons your peace. You can't force someone to stay who's already halfway out the door. And you shouldn't want to. Love, loyalty, and respect should never be begged for. If it has to be chased, it's not real. Letting someone go doesn't mean you didn't love them. It doesn't mean their presence didn't matter. It means you finally realize that your peace is more valuable than their confusion. You don't need to keep proving your worth to someone who can't see it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is get quiet, walk away, and focus on what's ahead instead of who's walking away. Some people only come into your life to teach you what self-respect feels like, and once you get that lesson, clinging to them becomes unnecessary and even dangerous to your growth. When you let people go without resistance, you show emotional maturity. You don't need closure from someone who gave you chaos. You don't need explanations from someone who knew how to hurt you, but not how to heal you. Some exits are messy. Some people ghost, lie, manipulate, or blame. Don't engage. Don't match their energy. Silence is strength. Peace is power. Let them carry their actions with them. You don't need to respond to everything, and you definitely don't need to react to every act of immaturity. Walking away without trying to fix broken glass says more about your healing than any argument ever could. You'll often find that the moment you release someone who is weighing you down, life starts to feel lighter. That's not a coincidence. That's alignment. That's you stepping back into your purpose. That's life making space for what was always meant for you. When you stop holding the door open for the wrong people, the right ones finally knock. The people who are meant for you won't require you to chase, beg, or lose sleep at night wondering where you stand. They'll show up with consistency, care, and clarity. Sometimes the fear of being alone keeps you connected to people who aren't good for you. You convince yourself that if you let go, you'll have nothing. But in reality, the minute you let go, you open yourself up to everything. Don't confuse familiarity with love. Don't stay where your soul feels heavy. You were not created to be someone's emotional punching bag or their temporary fix. You were created for deeper things, for love that's safe, mutual, and grounded in truth. So if someone wants to go, let them. Don't chase after them. Don't lower your standards to keep them. Don't abandon your boundaries just to be chosen. If someone can walk away from you, let them. It's not your loss, it's their missed opportunity. You don't need to convince anyone of your value when you already know your worth. The right ones will never require you to shrink, question yourself, or break your own heart trying to keep them around. Letting people go without resistance is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's how you honor yourself even when it hurts. Peace is louder than blocking. You don't have to block someone to prove you've moved on. You don't need to hit delete, unfollow, or unfriend just to send a message. Real peace doesn't perform. It doesn't need to announce itself. When you're truly over someone, when you've really healed, you don't need to erase them. You just stop reacting. You stop responding. You stop allowing their presence to disrupt your spirit. That's peace. Not loud, not petty, not explosive, just calm. It's when their name no longer triggers you, when their silence no longer hurts, when their posts no longer pull you back into pain. It's when your energy no longer shifts because of their existence. Blocking might make a statement, but peace makes a bigger one. See, anyone can hit a button. It takes no strength to block someone out of anger, but it takes emotional maturity to simply let someone exist without needing to control the space they occupy. When you're truly at peace, you can see someone win and still stay in your lane. You can walk past them without tension. You can allow their energy to pass through your life without touching you. That's power. That's proof you've taken your emotions back. That's what healing actually looks like. Blocking is often about control. It's a reaction, and reactions are rooted in emotional turbulence. Sometimes people block to make a point, to start a fight, or to get a response. But peace doesn't look for attention. Peace isn't performative. It's quiet confidence. It's choosing not to engage because you've outgrown the drama. It's refusing to let someone who hurt you keep influencing your day, your energy, or your mood. You don't need to show them they no longer matter, because when you're healed, you don't care whether they see it or not. You're not proving anything. You're simply living. There's a difference between moving on and trying to look like you have. A lot of people confuse distance with healing. They think because they block someone, they've let go. But true letting go doesn't come with spite. It doesn't come with a plan to be noticed. It comes with stillness. When you've moved on for real, your peace is so deep, you don't need to erase them. You've just stopped revolving around them. They're no longer part of your emotional ecosystem. They don't dictate your sleep, your worth, your thoughts, or your feelings. You've detached, not just digitally, but spiritually. Peace is what happens when you reclaim your inner world. It's what happens when you no longer allow someone else's presence to affect your progress. You can still have memories and not be moved. You can still see their face and feel absolutely nothing. That's the real victory. Not cutting them off, not making a scene, not silencing them with a tap on your phone, but realizing they have no power over you anymore. That's when you win. That's when you know you've grown. You don't need to block when your heart is whole, when your soul is calm, when your mind is free. You naturally detach. You don't erase people, you just evolve past them. You realize your life isn't shaped by who stays or leaves. It's shaped by who you are becoming, regardless of who comes with you. You don't make loud exits. You don't burn bridges. You just take the lesson, walk away quietly, and build a better life. That silence, that calm, that emotional freedom, that's peace. And peace is always louder than blocking. Never beg for love or respect. The moment you find yourself pleading for someone to treat you right, that's the moment you need to step back and ask yourself why you're fighting to be seen by someone who should have noticed your worth from the beginning. Love is not something you earn through suffering. Respect isn't a reward you chase. The right people don't make you beg for what should come naturally. Real love flows freely. Real respect is automatic when someone genuinely values you. When someone truly cares for you, they don't have to be reminded how to treat you. They just do it. Without being asked, without being pushed, and without needing to be convinced. Begging creates imbalance. It puts one person in a place of power and the other in a place of desperation. That's not love, that's survival. It turns your relationship into a transaction where your self-worth is constantly being negotiated. When you start begging, you stop being yourself. You bend, shrink, and twist who you are just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. You start apologizing for asking for the bare minimum. You convince yourself that silence is safer than speaking up. But love should never cost you your voice. Respect should never require your silence. The people who truly love you won't require you to prove yourself. You won't have to audition for a permanent role in their life. They won't make you feel like you're asking for too much when all you want is honesty, loyalty, and consistency. If you have to constantly remind someone to value you, they don't. And no matter how much you give, how long you stay, or how hard you try, you can't force someone to see you when they've already decided to look past you. You don't have to beg to be treated like a priority. You don't have to beg for phone calls, time, attention, or basic decency. The right person won't make you feel guilty for needing connection. They won't ghost you, breadcrumb you, or string you along while keeping their options open. The one who's meant for you won't make you feel like a burden. They'll make you feel like a blessing. And they'll show up for you not just in words, but in action. There's nothing wrong with wanting love. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be chosen. But you should never have to lower your standards, ignore red flags, or beg for the emotional bare minimum just to feel accepted. The minute you start to chase what's not meant for you is the minute you start losing pieces of yourself. You lose confidence, clarity, and eventually your peace. Love should heal you, not confuse you. Respect should build you up, not break you down. You are not hard to love. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong person. The right one won't run from your light. They'll be drawn to it. They'll honor your truth, not use it against you. And most importantly, they'll meet you with the same energy you bring. You won't feel like you're carrying the entire connection on your back. You won't feel empty after every interaction. You'll feel seen, safe, and supported. Begging for love or respect creates a cycle where you begin to doubt yourself. You question your worth, your value, and your place in someone's life. But no one's love is worth losing yourself over. You are whole with or without someone else's validation. You don't need to beg when you're already enough. Walk away from anything that makes you beg for the love you deserve to receive freely. When you stop begging, you start attracting what's aligned. What's meant for you will never have to be chased, forced, or fought for. It will show up ready, willing, and able to stay. You are the prize, not the problem. Somewhere along the line, you may have started to believe that you were too much, too emotional, too complicated, or too hard to love. But those thoughts didn't come from the truth. They came from people who didn't know how to handle your life, people who benefited from your silence, from your patience, from your willingness to overextend yourself just to keep a relationship alive. You gave more than you received. You showed up fully while others showed up halfway. And because they couldn't match your energy, they made you believe that your energy was the issue, but it wasn't. You are not the problem just because someone else lacked the capacity to appreciate you. When someone doesn't know your worth, they treat you like you're disposable. And if you don't know your own worth, you'll start to believe them. You'll find yourself chasing after people who are running from you, trying to fix yourself to fit into spaces you were never meant to be in. But the truth is, their inability to love you properly has nothing to do with your value. Some people simply aren't built to hold what you carry. They're not ready for the kind of heart you have. And instead of admitting their own limitations, they project their shortcomings onto you. But don't carry that weight. It's not yours to hold. The right person will never make you feel like a problem. They won't punish you for having standards. They won't pull away when you express your needs. They won't make you feel guilty for wanting clarity, effort, or emotional safety. When someone truly sees you as the prize, they pursue you with intention. They respect your presence. They don't keep you guessing or second guessing. They step up, not back. And most importantly, they make you feel chosen, not just tolerated. You weren't made to settle for crumbs just because you're afraid to be alone. You weren't made to shrink yourself just to be more manageable. If someone can't handle your truth, your growth, your fire, they're not your person. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Not everyone deserves access to the best parts of you. You've spent too much time trying to convince the wrong people to stay, forgetting that being the prize means you don't chase, you attract. You don't force doors to open. You walk away from what doesn't align and trust that what's meant for you will recognize your value without hesitation. There will be people who come into your life and try to dim your shine, minimize your accomplishments, or make you feel like your emotions are a weakness. Don't let them. Don't let anyone who hasn't done the work within themselves tell you who you are. You are not hard to love, they were just unequipped. You are not complicated, they were just unprepared. You are not broken, you are just holding space for people who had no idea how to handle it. You are the prize because you love deeply, because you show up when it's uncomfortable, because you give even when you're tired, because you see beauty in others even when they can't see it in themselves. That is rare. That is valuable. That is powerful. So stop trying to fix what isn't yours to fix. Stop shrinking to fit into places where you were never meant to belong. Stop carrying the burden of someone else's lack of readiness. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a blessing to be appreciated. And anyone who fails to see that isn't meant to keep a seat at your table. You are the prize. And the moment you start believing that is the moment your entire life begins to shift. Not because you changed, but because you finally remembered who you were all along.